Hi, everybody. Welcome to today's program. This is David Nevins for Citybiz List. And today we continue with another of our discussions in conjunction with the Bridge Alliance, which we're referring to as discussions that are helpful in repairing America's broken democracy. So we'll see how that goes. Our guest today is Rebekah Shrestha. Rebekah, welcome to our program.
Wonderful to be here. Thanks for having me.
And everybody, Rebekah is the Senior VP and Managing Director of the Belfer Center for Innovation and Social Impact. And that is a part of the 92nd Street Y in New York, which most of us are familiar with. So, Rebekah, welcome once again, and tell us a little bit about the Belfer Center and your work there.
Yeah. So the Belfer Center, as you mentioned, is based at the 92nd Street Y, which is a nearly 150-year-old institution in New York City. That's a center for culture, connection, and enrichment. And we're 92NY's social impact laboratory. So we create scalable solutions to the most pressing challenges that society is facing. Previous programs that we've incubated include Giving Tuesday and the Social Good Summit. And currently, we're focused on developing new ways of addressing today's crisis of community, which we see as the root cause of many of the challenges that we face, from polarization to isolation and even extremism. So we're creating new ways to build collective identity and ensure connections to friends, family, community, and our democratic structures are strong and thriving.
Well, probably a little bit more easily said than done, I'm going to guess. I know you're about attempting to bridge divides, among other things. So, Rebekah, just share with us a little bit more, maybe get sort of ground level in terms of what do you all do? How do you make it work? How do you achieve your goals and objectives?
Yeah. So one exciting new program that we just launched at the Belfer Center is called Share Our America. And it was developed to address the rising polarization that we see in our country and is based on research-backed strategies to reduce polarization, which say that if we're able to connect in person with people who are different from us, who have different perspectives, come from different backgrounds, and really learn about their viewpoints and the values and experiences that shaped those viewpoints, we can build the trust, respect, empathy, and understanding needed to repair our country's divides. So that's what Share America is focused on. We take people from different geographies, different backgrounds. We travel to each other's communities. We meet in person for a number of days, really get to know each other, go through sort of an arc of experience with different conversations, social activities, facilitated dialogues, activities in the local community, really being able to understand where each other come from, why we hold the beliefs that we do, what are the values and experiences going all the way back to our families of origin that shape those perspectives. And through that, we found we can really build extraordinary levels of trust, understanding, and appreciation for difference that weren't there before. And just one example of this, at our last Share America experience, I watched two women with diametrically opposed beliefs on abortion sit across a picnic table from each other and have a conversation and come out of it not with anyone's mind changed, not finding common ground on the issue, but saying, I understand where you're coming from. I understand why you believe what you believe. I don't believe that, but I can see you as a human who is deserving of respect and dignity and who comes to their position from a place of love, even if I don't see things the way that you do. And that's what's really extraordinary about this particular program, is that I think that's really what we've lost in society today, is the ability to see beyond our differences, to see each other as people who are deserving of respect, even if we have different political positions. And because of that, we get into this nosedive of negative engagement, and we engage with each other with animosity and even hostility, and we can't solve our problems that way. You know, we've all felt this over our dinner tables. We've felt this with friends and family, and we see this in Washington, that because we can't engage with each other as people, we aren't able to come to constructive solutions, and we just have gridlock. And that's what we're trying to do. person by person, community by community, in a really grassroots way of building those relationships across difference, which we think can ultimately change our country and change how we interact with each other at a really significant level.
Well, I certainly hope you're right. I would agree with your premise, Rebekah, which is, it seems to me that that either side has essentially lost respect for the other side's position, right? Whether it's abortion or presidential politics, or whatever the case may be. We've come to the point where I know you don't agree with me, and the fact of the matter is I have no respect for your position, and vice versa. So if you can bridge that gap, I think only good things will occur. Are you having success? Is this restricted to New York, or are you doing this elsewhere?
No, we're doing this all over. And, I think to your point, David, it's really important to be able to say, I may not agree with you, but you aren't evil. You aren't a bad person. Like, you come to this just from a different set of life experiences and perspectives. And that sort of role of perspective taking is incredibly powerful. So our first pilot was actually in Chadron, Nebraska, which is an agricultural community in Western Nebraska of 5,000 people. We collaborated with the Episcopal Diocese of Nebraska, and we brought 92NY patrons who actually came from all over the country. So 92NY is based in New York, but we're a global organization. So we had folks coming from California, from Florida, from the tri-state area to Chadron to really be able to get to know folks and see a community and understand a way of life that they never would have been exposed to before. And I mean, the outcomes were tremendous. 100% of people who participated said that they had built meaningful connections with someone who was different from them. 100% of people said that they planned to keep in touch with the folks that they had met. It was well into the 80s who said they had increased their ability to trust other people, to communicate across difference. 91% of people said that their listening skills had improved from the experience. And I think the thing that just gives me the most excitement about this program and the impact that it can have is that 91% of people said they wanted to take the work forward, that they wanted to continue to work in the bridging divide space because of this experience and be able to do more. And 100% of people said that they wanted to share the experience with their friends and family and community. So that's the thing that was so powerful coming out of this pilot, was that this is really a catalyzing experience for people, that they go on a Share America trip and their eyes are really open and they're inspired in ways that they want to keep moving forward. And that's what we see as sort of the ultimate vision for this work, is creating a movement and a community of people who believe that we can repair our country, who believe that we can overcome these divides that are tearing apart our democracy, and that they want to take action to be able to do that. And that's the role that we see for the Belfer Center and our community collaborators, is creating those opportunities and those moments to be able to do that at a grassroots level, to have every individual who wants to make change on this issue be able to do that. Because that's what we hear over and over, is people are devastated by what they see happening in our country. And it's not just what they see happening in Washington, but also what they see happening in their own communities. We heard about this in Chadron, where community members who saw policies differently or had different perspectives, really there's a deep antagonism that we've created because of how we've talked about polarization and policy in our country, because of how the media portrays it. And the way to be able to move beyond that is by building these one-to-one relationships. And that's the role that we see for this. So right now we are actively recruiting new community collaborators who are excited about bringing this work to their community. And that's the role that we see the Belfer Center, is really being sort of the conveners and the catalysts to work with local community organizations to bring this work into their communities, tailor it for their sort of unique perspective, the unique challenges in their community, because this isn't a one-size-fits-all challenge. And I think that that's something that we see a lot, is Bridging Divides work can be focused on the coasts with folks who are sort of already bought in to needing to do this work. And we really see Share America as being important in terms of bringing folks into this conversation who aren't already here, who really care about this challenge, but may not have been given an opportunity to do something yet or to engage with it, and wanting to have this be really led at the local community level, so that it's tailored to each place, because how this shows up is different across our country.
So again, quite fascinating. And I guess a couple questions. I'm curious, where do you go next? And then also the reactions of the folks who live in Nebraska and were visited. Were they the same reactions? How do you compare those reactions to the folks who came in from New York or LA to visit Nebraska? Because I think we've become a country where I know when, I do a fair amount of traveling, and I say to myself, if I'm going into a place, I'm probably better off not discussing politics with the local folks than discussing politics with the local folks. So you're trying to do the opposite.
Yeah.
But it's kind of planned and organized. So where do you go next? And did the folks in Nebraska have the same reaction to the folks who came as the folks who came, let's say, from the big city?
Yeah. So where we go next is two things. So one, we're expanding out in Nebraska. We've created a lot of really exciting momentum in communities in Nebraska. And so we're looking to really have that be a regional hub. And that's the model that we're envisioning, is having regional hubs all across the US, where we would have communities that are really passionate about this work, who are taking the lead in their local area and growing out from there. And so that's why we're so excited, one, to keep building on the momentum in Nebraska and in the Plains, but also to bridge out to other regions and find leaders, community organizations who are really excited to be the leaders in their regions and expand from there. We're also looking at an individual exchange model where individuals could travel in this way. So you can imagine, you talk about traveling with your family and going to places that are different and wanting to know more about them, but you don't know where to begin. You don't know someone who lives there. You don't want to walk up to a random stranger on the street and have a conversation about politics. That doesn't feel like it would go well. So, the idea is that we can create a resource for being able to connect people from different parts of the country, so that, let's say you're traveling with your family in a area of the country that you don't live in, you would be able to find a person there who's raised their hand to say, I want to get to know people who are different than me. And you would be able to connect with them and meet up to be able to have a meal together, to do a tour of the town, to be able to ask about their experiences, and they could ask about yours, and really open up that door for dialogue, because you've both raised your hand to say that you're excited about this. And so we envision this could be a platform to be able to connect people across the country. You could envision going on your phone and opening up the Share Our America app. And, I'm in Sun River, Idaho, and I want to find someone here who, is interested in having a conversation and being able to connect with someone who has that lens. So, as you can see, our ambitions are really quite large, and we really want to ultimately create the ability for every single person in the country who is interested in repairing our divides to have the ability to join a Share Our America experience, whether it's an individual experience or whether it's a group experience through a community organization, to be able to get to know someone who's different from them, get to know a group of people who is different from them. And in terms I was just going to answer your second question.
No, I was just going to go answer my second question, and then I'll come back to you.
Wonderful. So the second question of sort of the difference in feedback between the folks who are coming from more urban and suburban areas and the folks who are coming from Chadron is, it was really quite similar. What the feedback we heard was, we realized that there's actually so much more that we share than differences that we have. Even if we come from different places, we have different life experiences, we may have different political positions. At the end of the day, what we all really care about is helping each other, is being able to, care about other people. And that was what was really profound, was what the participants shared about saying, one, finding that there's actually so much more in common than what we have different. And then 2, feeling like they really came away with an increased ability to listen. And that's something that we heard from everyone who participated in the trip, regardless of what geography they were joining from, is that this was an opportunity to step back. And this is how the program is designed, that we teach participants how to ask questions that are designed to understand rather than questions that are designed to persuade. And the goal is to listen without judgment and to listen without trying to persuade other people of your position, but just to listen with truly trying to understand where people are coming from. And that was something we heard over and over was extraordinarily powerful for participants.
Rebekah, we are unfortunately out of time, but truly fascinating. So let me ask you in closing, how does one find out more about your center, and how does one even potentially find out more about participating on such a visit if possible?
Yes. So we would love to have everyone who's watching join a Share Our America experience. You can learn more by going to www.shareouramerica.org. And you can find all the information there about the program, how we're expanding, ways to get involved. And the Belfer Center you can find at 92NY's website. Come on by our building. We're on the Upper East Side of New York. If you're based in New York, we would love to say hi and come join us. We have a whole host of programs. Share America is one of them. And we would love to see you at 92NY.
Thank you so much, Rebekah, for your time. We really appreciate it.
Thanks, David. Wonderful to chat.
This has been David Nevins for Citybiz List and another of our ongoing conversations in conjunction with the Bridge Alliance, which is all about repairing America's broken democracy. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.